Ever feel like you're facing a giant in your life? A problem so big, so intimidating, you just want to run and hide. We've all been there. But what if I told you that the secret to finding courage isn't about being fearless, but about having faith? Let's dive into some of the most powerful stories from the Bible that prove just that. First up, a classic, David and Goliath. Imagine a young shepherd boy, armed with just a sling and a few stones, facing a 9-foot-tall, heavily armored warrior. Everyone else was terrified, but David wasn't. Why? Because his faith wasn't in his own strength, but in God's. He told Goliath, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." And with one single stone, he brought the giant down. David's story teaches us that when we put our trust in a power greater than ourselves, the size of our giants doesn't matter. Now, let's talk about Daniel. He was a man of unwavering integrity and prayer. Some jealous rivals tricked the king into signing a law that made it illegal to pray to anyone but the king himself, with the punishment being a night in the lion's den. Did Daniel stop praying? Absolutely not. He continued his daily prayers, was caught, and thrown to the hungry lions. The king was heartbroken, but the next morning, he rushed to the den and found Daniel completely unharmed. An angel had shut the lions' mouths. Daniel's courage came from his consistent faith, showing us that staying true to our beliefs, even under extreme pressure, brings divine protection. What about having the courage to speak up for others? That's where Queen Esther's story shines. She was a Jewish woman who became Queen of Persia, but she had to hide her identity. When a wicked official plotted to wipe out all the Jewish people, Esther's uncle challenged her, saying maybe she had become queen for such a time as this, risking her own life. Esther bravely approached the king without being crime punishable by death to expose the plot and plead for her people. Her faith gave her the courage to use her position for good, and she saved her entire nation. Her story reminds us that sometimes our purpose is bigger than our personal safety. Then there's Joshua, who had some seriously big shoes to fill after Moses. He was tasked with leading the Israelites into the Promised Land, which was filled with fortified cities and powerful enemies. The very first city they had to conquer was Jericho, which had massive, impenetrable walls. God's battle plan wasn't conventional. He told them to march around the city for 7 days and then shout. It probably sounded crazy, but Joshua obeyed. He had faith in the plan. And on the 7th day, when the priests blew their trumpets and the people shouted, the walls of Jericho came crashing down. Joshua's courage was rooted in obedience and trusting God's unconventional instructions. Finally, let's look at 3 friends who faced a fiery furnace, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The king demanded everyone bow down to a giant golden statue. These 3 refused, declaring they would only worship their God. The furious king had them thrown into a furnace so hot it killed the guards who threw them in. But when the king looked inside, he saw not 3, but 4 men walking around in the fire, completely unharmed. Their faith was so strong that they said even if God didn't save them, they still wouldn't bow. That's a powerful level of conviction. Their story teaches us that true courage is standing firm in our faith, no matter the outcome. From David's sling to Esther's plea, these stories all have a common thread. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's faith in action. It's trusting that even when you're facing giants, lions, or fiery furnaces, you are not alone. So whatever giant you're facing today, remember these stories. Find your courage not in your own abilities, but in a faith that can move mountains. Shut the mouths of lions and crumble walls. Thank you so much for watching. If these stories inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that fuels your faith and courage. See you in the next video!